if you live in America, more than likely your end goal is to eventually own a home one day. Unfortunately, with the way that things seem to be going right now, it seems like you're actually buying yourself into being home poor with the outrageous prices of mortgages, right? Unless if you're rich, it just seems like you're buying a house to say that you're a homeowner. But of course, our first video was sent to us by one of you guys. You guys have been on an absolute roll. I cannot believe this. I mean, I'm a nobody. I have like what, 78 subscribers, and I'm getting consistent emails about TikToks you guys want me to review. So if you guys are actually interested in sending me a TikTok, you can go ahead and send me one through my email right here or check the description for the exact same thing.
Buying a home as a single parent is a bad idea. I'm a single parent who bought a home and I am thousands of dollars in debt. I thought that buying a home would be the best thing for my daughter and I. I didn't take into consideration property taxes. My mortgage went from $1,400 to $1,900 in 2 years. I'm in debt because I had 3 water leaks. Not only did I have to pay the rise in property taxes, but I had to pay for the maintenance in my home. I definitely believe that home ownership requires 2 incomes. All of the things that I could do before I bought the home, all of the things I could provide to my daughter before I bought my home, I can no longer do.
And that's the biggest deal
I
right
am what
there.
they call house poor. If you are a single parent looking to buy a home, I hope you have thousands of dollars in savings. Equity is cool and all, but when it comes at a price, I don't think I'm willing to pay it anymore.
And to be honest, that's really all you're buying. You're buying the title of homeowner. Because people don't budget for the mortgage. They'll just see the blank mortgage and they'll think that's what they're paying for. And they don't think that mortgages can go up because interest rates are flat. But no, if you refinance it, it 100% can go up. And see, that's the main difference. Because if you're renting and rent gets too high, you could always just move out, move into a different place that's a lot more affordable. However, with a mortgage, right, you're bound to a specific location. You're going to have to sell that house, and who knows how long it'll actually take to sell, especially in this housing market. I mean, houses are staying on Zillow for like months at a time. So now you're cranking in overtime because your mortgage went up. And now all of a sudden you can't afford the same thing that you did with your daughter. So then what's the point of even buying a house? Ooh, especially since she's a single income. I mean, she must have gotten really lucky and bought in a house like a couple years ago. I mean, she said her mortgage went up to 1900. I wish I could move in right now. I will buy a house right now if it was 1900. Unfortunately, it's just not 1900. It's most likely going to be like 2600.
How much do we have left?
$40.
That's it?
Well, you guys want to get something to eat?
Now I can show you guys the simplest and easiest way to make sure that you guys are never home broke. And the way you want to do this is by actually budgeting how much you can actually afford. So you can literally search up any mortgage calculator online. This is going to give you a general rough estimate of what you're looking at. But before you could even get to that, you want to make sure you actually know how much the maximum amount of money you can actually afford. So here I'm at a rent affordability calculator. It doesn't really matter. I pick rent just because you have a specific percentile of your monthly income. So for this example, we got $5,000. Imagine, you are making $5,000. It could be less, it could be more. Hopefully it's more, but let's just say it's $5,000. I would like it. I don't even like it at 33%. I think 33% is kind of pushing it, but if you want to keep it at 33%, you have your max at 2208. We can go ahead and do that later in the mortgage calculator, but for now, I'm more comfortable with either 30, that's my bare maximum, right? But definitely a lot more comfortable 25%. That way you could really, make sure that you can cover any kind of expense fees. For instance, in the video that I showed, I think before, right? The lady was talking about how I believe her. Yeah. She said she was in debt because she had 3 water leaks, right? So imagine you just bought a house and then immediately your water leaks. Then all of a sudden you got no money to spend it on because you just spent everything on your on down payments and then on all the one-time fees that you have to pay for to even get the house, and then of course the mortgage itself. So yeah, 25%, you got 1672 a month, right? So let's see how much house we can actually afford with 1672. Here we go. Here's something a lot more accurate to what you actually see. A $300,000 house, way more on like the cheaper side of like houses. Let's assume you only put 15,000 in down payment, 30-year loan term. You have an interest rate of 7% basically. Let's just assume that your credit score, I mean, is okay. Let's say property tax is 250 a month. With the insurance, PMI, since you haven't paid the full 20%, and then HOA fees, which HOA fees could be a lot more. This could easily be instead of 2600. This could easily be 27 and a half. But yeah, that's just for 300,000. I mean, obviously, let's say you put 20%, uh, which means that you wouldn't have any PMI. Yeah, there we go. And essentially, 2300 is a lot better than what we started off with, right? But if you go back to the original website, we were at 25%. This is 1600. Now let's see if we can bump this up to 6000 a month at 25. Nope, that's still 2000. Let's see, 7000. It might be 7000. Ooh, is it 7000? Yeah, it is 7,000. So you need to make $7,000 a month to be able to afford all of this, assuming the fact that you can put 20% down. And if you can see, going back to our 5,000 a month model, right? 2,300, that would be 36% of your income. And remember, that's assuming best case scenario. Let me go back to a 5% down payment and then another PMI, PMI fees. And then we see that 2760 is not even 40%. You are approaching 50%, which granted that sounds really good to a lot of people, right? But think about it, right? This is most likely dual income, and this is without taking into consideration everything else. This is just the place that you're living. Cuz oh yeah, you have to pay for utilities too. At all the repairs that you have to do, which is why I say I always like to keep it at 25%. So 1672, what would that be? We see at 250,000, that's not even good enough. And if we drop it down 200,000, which is like you're not gonna find a house for that. You get 1,800, which is a really nice mortgage that you can pay, right? I think yeah, principal interest is only 1,000. Um, but even then, that wouldn't even be the 25%. That would be 28%. And while yes, I understand there's people who will go out and spend 70% of their net income on the place that they live. Unfortunately, I just don't think that that's doable. And if you can afford to like not be in that situation, definitely try to go for at least 30%, 35% maybe.
Here's how you're going to avoid being house poor. Starting off hot, budget smartly. Your budget is the most important thing when you're preparing to buy a house.
Correct.
Get a mortgage calculator so you can crunch your own numbers. Now, when you're using
Because people get really scared of money, right? But if you take the time to learn money, money is very consistent. Money is math, and the one thing about math is always right. If 1 plus 1 is 2, it will always be 2 no matter what. So if you budget right, if you budget to where you spend less than you earn, then you will never lose money.
your mortgage calculator, you have to already have an idea of what loan you may want to use or what you're going to qualify for. Now, this should go without saying, but when you buy a house, you got to keep it up. And 1 to 3% for any improvements or what you're going to need to save when you buy a house. House hacking or home renovation can be expensive, but it's worth it. And these are loans that you can use so you can renovate your house without breaking the bank. A home equity line of credit is perfect if you've already had some equity built up in your home. Speaking of build up in home, let's talk about new construction property taxes. If you are buying a new construction, property taxes are not finalized until after it's done being built. So keep in mind property taxes may increase and you want to budget for that also. Now, of course, as home buyers, we're not just maintaining the inside, we're also thinking about the outside of our house.
Oh, yeah.
So you want to factor any outdoor maintenance when you're using your mortgage calculator. And don't just think about your backyard and your front yard. Think about your fence. Think about your pool. All that counts for outdoor maintenance. You're going to want to save this for future you when you start your home buying search this fall or next spring. And of course, you can find the mortgage calculator in my bio. Bye, y'all.
But if you're about to go out and spend probably the biggest purchase of your entire life, why not go out and learn absolutely everything that there is to learn about it? Become a master at this. I mean, realistically, all it would really take is maybe like 2 or 3 videos a day on YouTube, just going over everything. And then from there on, you'll know more than probably like 70% of the population. But yeah, no, please, if it's not for my sake, for your own sake, look into every single little detail. Yes, this is a new day. I just shampooed my hair, so ignore me if I look a little bit like Justin Bieber.
I'm at a really weird crossroads in my life, and I can't really figure out what I want to do. For background, we bought a house in upstate New York in 2021, and I'm kind of regretting it. There's not really anything to do around here, and it's becoming really depressing. The reason why we bought a house here was because I was remote, but my boyfriend still had to go into an office. So we were looking for houses that were kind of around the same area so that he could still commute. And then afterwards, he got a job that was remote.
That's very unfortunate because most of the times housings can really like trap you in place, which is why me personally, I really recommend apartments, at least until like you are really settled in life. because you never really know what's going on. I mean, at any moment, really, your life could change. You could lose your job, or in this case, you can get a remote job, which at that point, why even move to the city that you move in? Most of the time, you move into places that's convenience, you know? Let's say you find a really high paying job, but it's like more in the rural area, right? Now you're like making that switch over to a place that you've never lived before. Like, let's say you live maybe suburban or like in a city life. Now you have to completely change your entire life. And who knows, maybe you might get fired from that job one day. So counterpoint to that, let's say you've been in the rules all your life, right? And then you go into a city. Now all of a sudden jobs are a lot more competitive and everything's a lot more expensive. I think that's always been my biggest fear is buying a house and then like 6 months later realizing the city that I live in is not a good city. But at least with the convenience of an apartment, you can always either break the lease or wait until your lease ends and then go move into like another apartment in a different city. And even within cities, you have really expensive apartments and you have really cheap apartments. Although if you look at this comment right here, I couldn't have worded it any better. There's no like little middle place. Everything is either very luxurious or everything is very like dirt poor and there's nothing in between.
3 months into moving into the house. I think if we were both remote, we probably would have been looking for houses that were somewhere else. Like,
Yeah.
I'm finding out that I'm much more of a city person rather than a country person since being here, and I kind of already knew that, but moving here definitely made me know for sure that I am more of a city person than a country person. We're in the Hudson Valley, so it's very touristy, but we're in the part of the Hudson Valley where there's really not much. I mean, there's a really touristy town called Hudson, but it's 20 minutes away. I'm just like
Yeah.
not feeling this area. It's so
Especially in rural
different
areas,
from
every city is
where
like
I
20
grew up,
minutes
which
away.
is a little bit closer to the city, and it's kind of more suburban, but there was a lot more to do, and it was so easy to get into New York City for like big stuff, events, concerts and stuff. There's just nothing here. The town I'm in feels like a drive-through town. Like, it doesn't feel like a town that you stop to live or buy a house or start a family or anything. It just feels like a place you drive through to get to somewhere better. So yeah,
And most of the
I'm
time,
kind
these
of
would be the places
regretting
with
it,
like really
and
luxurious
I'm
houses
not
that are
sure
really
what to
affordable.
do. Part of me wants to just sell this house as is, but then I feel like we're never going to be able to buy another house if we do it because the price of houses are insane and the interest rates are insane. So it's kind of like we're stuck here. I really don't think that we would have bought this house if we were both remote at the time that we were looking for houses. I think we would have been looking in a bigger city like Boston or New York City or even like Seattle or somewhere like that. My mom
But then you would have
offered
spent
me
way more than you
land
started
to
with.
build another house where she lives, but I kind of don't want to live near my mom, and it's just, I don't know, it's just such a weird thing. Part of me also wants to just sell everything and leave the country. On top of that, we don't really know anybody around here except our neighbor and maybe like 4 other people.
That is true. I mean, when I used to live in the suburbs, right, you could just go outside and make friends whenever you want. Here, like, I live more like rural kind of suburbs. And what I mean by that is this specific area that I'm in is definitely a lot more suburban. But if you drive literally 5 minutes south, it's a lot more rural. But yeah, no, in this entire time, I haven't met like a single person that like, I'm close with. I mean, I know my neighbors, but that's like the general extent of like people that I'm actually meeting outside of like my house.
And that's it. All of our other friends moved away, or they're from the town that we came from, and when we moved, they kind of just were like, goodbye, we don't know you anymore as soon as we moved away.
That's so true. No, honestly, that's so
And
true.
it's just been shitty. Like, it's been shitty and confusing and weird.
And I feel bad for this person because a lot of people do feel trapped in their own home. I mean, I feel like my best recommendations for this person, if he wants to break even, he definitely could just sell the house. I mean, that's a big chunk of money right there that you could live off of for a pretty solid amount of time. If not, like if you could really afford it, I live in the house for like maybe like 2, 3 more years. See where like the housing market really gets to, and then sell from that point. I believe, if I remember correctly, there was a study that if you want to make profit off of a house, you have to wait like at least 7 years. And I doubt that this person has 7 years that they really want to give away. But other than that, you really have no other options. But hey, I mean, catch your blessings. I mean, you have 2 people who work remotely that's good enough to be able to support a house. I mean, I'm sure if you're working remotely, you're getting paid decently well. And for this last video, I felt like I really wanted to show this off because I feel like with the modernization of everything and all this fake luxury stuff, I feel like people have really forgotten about what an actual home really looks like.
Can we please normalize lower income homes? All I ever see on TikTok are big open spaces, bright lights, brand new houses, everything perfectly aesthetically pleasing. I want the kids to see this is normal too. People still live like this.
It might not have all the bells and whistles. It might not be the fanciest thing in the world, but you know what? It's a space, you know? But see, the thing is, right? A lot of these like poor house aesthetics, right? Really just come down to like clutterness and dirtiness. If you really look at this, right? This is a really nice space. This is just, you have a kitchen. You have everything that you'd ever possibly need. I'm not calling this house like dirty at all because it's definitely not dirty. It's really clean, right? Yeah, no, you could do a lot with a house like this. If you have a family, you have a house, you're set. You know what I mean? If you're happy with the place that you live and this is the type of house you buy, I see absolutely nothing wrong with that. But thank you once again for reaching the end of the video. Don't forget to leave a like on this video if you really liked it and subscribe because I'm a small channel and I really want to get to monetization. But yeah, see you guys next time.